back, my dear sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. I'm Emmy, my husband is Paul, and we're an early retirement, debt and mortgage-free couple living in the state of New York. And basically, our whole channel is dedicated to showing you how to have a full, abundant life while spending less money. So if that sounds good to you, stick around. Today's video we are so excited about. What we did basically is just watched for a week frugal things we did. What did we do that maybe a non-frugal person would not have done? We caught ourselves doing things and using things that we had bought at discounted prices, that we didn't pay full price for, that we made ourselves, and that we shared with others. It turned out that we do quite a few frugal things almost every day, and we don't even realize it sometimes. Let's get to today's video. The first thing we are going to share with you is a very, very special cake that we made. We used it for Easter, but I am telling you, for any kind of springtime or anytime celebration, just change the coloring a little bit, this cake was truly delicious. It was not only aesthetically pleasing, the taste was so good. It was over the top. We're going to share how we made it and some of my family's reaction when they tasted the cake. Then Paul's going to share with you how he saved a ton of money by doing a DIY on his hand truck that he uses here on the property. And then the last segment, what we gave to our niece for her birthday that she was over the moon about. So just some great practical, fun, frugal tips. I think the thing we have to remember with frugality is creativity. Being creative. It's a little bit of mind work. And the funny thing is, it's not hard. It becomes second nature. Frugality is one of the most rewarding lifestyle choices you can make. It gives back to you in abundance what you put into it. It's a lot of joy. It's really from within. Because as we go about doing these frugal things, we're thinking, wow, how blessed we are. How easy was this? I didn't even know I could do this. Stretch yourself just a little bit outside of your comfort zone and watch how your frugality just blossoms. And I mean that sincerely. So let's get right to the cake. I am sure many of you have seen these rainbow cookies. They are some of our favorite cookies. We have not bought them in years. A dear friend that works with my son sent me a picture of that rainbow cookie, giant size. She made it into a cake and she encouraged me to try it as well. Paul and I did exactly that. I'm going to turn this camera around and we're going to show you how to make the rainbow cookie cake. Here we go. We are so excited to try this recipe. Now, it may be a teeny tiny little bit more work than a usual box cake mix, but I guarantee you the results will be so much better. I think this cake will be perfect for Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduations, any kind of springtime celebration. This is going to be your go-to cake. So we're going to start with 2 boxes of vanilla or white cake mix. Now on the back, what it calls for is 1 cup water for each box, but we're going to use milk. So I'm going to put in 2 cups milk. It calls for a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. For each cake mix, we're going to do 1 1/2 cup vegetable oil and 1/2 cup of melted butter. And then it calls for 3 eggs for each box, which is 6. I'm going to bring that down to 4 eggs. We're also going to need some seedless raspberry preserves or jelly or jam, food coloring, and some almond extract. And at the end, we're going to cover it in a ganache. which is just basically some chocolate chips and heavy cream. If you were to buy this cake in a bakery, it would be upwards of probably $30, if not a little bit more. So let's get to work. In our mixing bowl, we have the 2 boxes of cake mix. Instead of the water it called for, we're going to add 2 cups of milk, half a cup of melted butter cooled, and a half a cup of vegetable oil. It did call for 6 eggs, but we're going to do 4. And I think this is going to be just fine. 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of almond extract. Now we're going to beat it on medium for 2 minutes. What we're going to have to do now is weigh it, because we're going to be making 3 layers to this cake. So we want to get the layers pretty even. So one of the greatest money saving tools I tell you all the time is a small digital scale. And we bought this one at Goodwill back in 2018 for $1.99. I turned it on. I'm going to put my bowl on it and I'm going to tare it to get to 0. Now I'm going to weigh the batter. So the total cake batter weighs 3 pounds, 12 ounces. So each layer, what we're going to use is 1 pound, 4 ounces. I'm going to separate them now. So I'm going to tear an empty bowl. I have cake batter all over my hands. What I want to do is just get this to 1 pound, 4 ounces. That's just about perfect. Now we're going to be making 3 layers. We're going to make a red, we're going to make a green, and we're going to make a yellow. So that's where our food coloring comes in. So I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3 drops of red. Let's see how red this gets. I don't use food coloring much. If you've ever seen any of my recipes, I don't think I've ever used it. But for this recipe, you really have to. And it's not something we eat all the time. Like I said, this is just a festive, fun cake for a springtime celebration or anytime celebration. So obviously 3 is not red enough. So we're going to go 4, 5, 6. So that looks like it is pretty well mixed. If you want it to be a bright red, by all means, add more food coloring. I just don't want to go overboard with it. You're going to cook each layer in a 9x13 pan. I only have 2 9x13 pans. So what I'm going to do is cook the 2 cakes first, take one out, wash it, and then do the last layer. For this cake, you only grease the bottom of the pan. I'm not sure why, but that's what it said. All right, we're starting at 0 again, and we're going to put our 1 pound, 4 ounces. Okay. This is going to be green now. So we started with 6 of the red. Let's try green. I do have 2 9x13 pans, so I am going to cook these 2, the red and the green, together, and then we'll do the yellow layer when one of these pans come out. 2 of our layers are ready to go in. They're going to go into a 350 oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, but we will keep an eye on them. The cake's cooked 17 minutes. The yellow one is still cooling in the pan. Make sure they are completely cool before you remove them. And how you're going to remove them is just go around the sides of the pan with like a butter knife. And then what I did was put a cutting board on top of the pan once it was cool and flipped it. And here you go. You take the bottom layer facing up. I took the raspberry preserves and I heated a half a jar on the stove just gently. I didn't want to melt it. I just wanted to make it soft enough to be able to spread it. And that's exactly what we did. And now what we're going to do is take the green layer and we're going to put it right on top of the pink layer. I just want to let you know this is 18 ounces of the preserves. So we got the green layer on top. Do not be concerned about these edges. We're going to be trimming them. We're going to make nice, clean sides. Just heating up the other half of jelly, and then we will put that on this layer. And I take my offset knife, and we're just going to spread this all over. The first 2 layers are bottom side up. I will link the original recipe down below. My way may be a little different, as it usually is. I put little strips of wax paper all around the bottom of the cake so that when we put the ganache on at the end, all we're going to have to do is pull these little strips out and everything will be neat and clean, like some of my viewers told me to do when we did the Black Forest cake for my in-laws. So that's all it is. The last layer is cooling. And I know it doesn't look like much now, but you just wait. Here's our last layer. It's yellow. This one's going to go upright on our other 2 layers. Remember, the other 2 layers went bottom up. This one's going to go right side up. Paul is now going to trim the edges. Don't throw these edges out. Put them in a container and stick them in the refrigerator and snack on them. Put them over ice cream, whatever you want to do with them. Don't waste them. And we're just going to make nice, even edges. All right, he's going to do each side now. Paul trimmed the edges beautifully all the way around. Now we're going to make the ganache. The ganache is just going to go on top. And if a little drips down, that's fine. But the whole cake does not get the ganache, just the top. In this bowl, I have a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and this is a cup of heavy cream that I heated over the stove just till it was about to boil. I'm going to take a plate, put it over the top, just let it sit 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, let's give this a good whisking now. And you're going to want to whisk it till it gets nice and silky. Now you can see how beautiful and creamy and glossy this is. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put it over the top. The thing with ganache is it will harden as it cools. I've got my trusty offset knife. You're just going to spread this just along the top. And if a little bit goes down, it's not very drippy. That's the good thing about ganache. Now I have some pretty pastel sugar. I'm just putting a little pastel sugar on the top before the ganache dries. Now we're going to very carefully take the paper out of here. This cake is traveling. That's why we built it right on the tray it's traveling on. I am pretty proud of this. And I think once we slice it, it is going to be magnificent. So this is a perfect springtime dessert.
Okay, we're here taste testing this wonderful tricolor cake. It has raspberry and chocolate and a hint of almond. Very light, very fluffy. It makes your mouth scream with joy. It was a wonderful cake. Thank you. Thank you
What
for
do you
this
think,
opportunity.
dear?
I'm very happy. It's delicious.
Hi everyone. So we're tasting the delicious tricolor cake. And I must say it is 10 times better than the cookie.
Ooh.
It is very, very light. And the raspberry really complements the chocolate and the almond flavor. So I would give this a 10 out of 10. So thank
It's
you,
very
Anna.
fluffy,
It's
isn't it?
delicious. Really fabulous.
Very fluffy.
Excellent.
My
Okay.
beautiful family. How about my family? My one brother, he's so much fun, I can't even tell you. I was actually very humbled how well that came out, I have to say. It was really phenomenal. The only thing I would encourage, a little more almond. I put a tablespoon. I would go a little bit more. I'd put a tablespoon and a teaspoon. I love that almond flavor. If you just like a very hint of the almond, stick with the tablespoon. But if you like that almond to really shine, put a tablespoon and a teaspoon. You won't be disappointed. That was just a success. Now what we're going to do is turn the camera around yet again, and Paul's going to share what he did when one of the tires went flat on his hand truck that he uses constantly here on the property. So I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to spend a little time with Paul.
Hey everybody, I bought a hand truck from Harbor Freight not too long ago so I could transport some heavy trash barrels and propane tanks and stuff around my property. It works great, it was cheap, I got a coupon to buy it, so that was a good frugal find. So the tire went flat on my hand truck. So I called the local tire shop to ask how much it would cost to replace this. They said $20. I said, $20, really? I can do better than that. I went to my local auto parts store and I purchased a tire tube patch kit, total of $5. This kit comes with 7 different size patches. I found the hole, I put on the patch. I'll put this back in the tire and I'll be good to go. Also, I got this tire pump from Goodwill. The sticker's still on it, $3.99. The thing works awesome. I mean, it's plastic, it's lightweight, it works great. Now that I patch the tube, I'll be able to put it back into the tire. Okay, so the tire is back on the rim, all screwed together. We're just going to add some air. This tire uses 30 pounds of pressure. Check that pressure with the tire gauge before you completely fill it up so you don't blow it out.
And just because I know everybody will be saying, what does Paul's shirt say? It says, I might look like I'm listening to you, but in my head, I'm playing my guitar. I love when he comes on with me. You have no idea how much it blesses me when he jumps on and shares what he does in our frugal journey. It just makes me smile. And he is so creative again. He saved us money. It was not difficult. And it didn't take that long.
I kind of dragged it out a little bit because I like to tinker, but if I was in a pinch, I could have probably had it done less than a half an hour.
There you go. And we saved quite a bit of money. And he has 6 extra patches to use for another time. So that was just a win. Another frugal thing we did this week without thinking, like just commonplace, just what we normally would do. Now to the next segment. Our niece had a birthday recently. One of the gifts we gave her was so much fun. And Paul and I thought about it in the fall. You know I love pumpkins. Oh my goodness, you all know that about me. Glass pumpkins, real pumpkins, stuffed pumpkins, whatever kind of pumpkin. And she is exactly the same way. I don't know what it is. She loves pumpkins too. And we both grow them in our garden. And we haven't been hugely successful. So what I thought would be really fun is when we went to Lancaster back in the fall, we picked up a bunch of their beautiful pumpkins. You can see all the colors. We came home with a blue pumpkin, a pink pumpkin, a white pumpkin, just all these beautiful colors. And at the end of the season, we had taken the seeds out and tried them. I knew she would love to have a bunch of these seeds to grow herself. So I found a really great book on how to grow pumpkins. And then I found these cute little colored envelopes, super cheap. Just labeled them, put the seeds in, put them in a pretty netted bag. And that was part of her gift. Take a peek. She was so happy with this gift. I think if we would have given her $100 bill, I think she would have been less excited as this part of her gift. She loved it. Now, you don't only have to stick with pumpkins. Sunflowers, get a variety of sunflower seeds and a book on how to grow sunflowers, vegetables, vegetable seeds. Such a great gift for a gardener. Look for these books used on Amazon, on eBay, any of the used book sites. You can get them at a fraction of a cost. Make sure if you're giving it as a gift, they're in fairly good condition. Presentation, again, is so much a part of the gift. It's just not throwing it in a bag and handing it to them. Wrap it. Put a pretty bow on it. Make it fancy. It just shows you care. It just shows they're worth your time and effort. So looking back, we made a cake. We saved, I don't even know how much that would have cost in a bakery, honestly. And it was so good. Paul saved us money by doing a DIY on a tire instead of bringing it into a shop and having them do it for him. And it was a fairly simple job. We put some thought and effort into a part of a gift we gave someone that was not only frugal, just such a great gift for that individual. Know your audience, know who you're giving that gift to. Maybe a cookbook, and add some ingredients with a cookbook. Make it their own, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. We hope this video of these tips and tricks and hints we do that we don't even think about encourages you. Our question of today is, what did you do this past week that you caught yourself and you thought, I did good? This was a frugal move. Share it down below, please. Like I say, it not only encourages Paul and I and gives us hints and ideas, but you encourage each other. So what did you catch yourself doing? You're like, aha, I did good on this one. Please share it down below. We thank you for being here. We thank you for spending this time with us. We ask if you'd be so kind, give this a big thumbs up, please. Subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget that comment. Remember to stay safe. Remember to stay well. And above all, we wish you blessings. Stay tuned for Dixie the Diva in our bed down south yet again. Can't get this dog out of the bed. I don't know. Enjoy. Bye-bye. Dixie, we have talked about Mommy and Daddy making the bed and then you doing this. Why you do this in our bed? And why do we let you do this in our bed?